Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night. Of course, it's the APAT show. Leigh, do we have an electrician in the house?
we don't. If somebody could shed a light on why we're 3 minutes late, that would be great. That really would.
Oh, fantastic. I'll tell you what, Leigh, let me bring our special guest, one Mr. John Murray, otherwise known, apparently, as the Mandarin Chicken. Let's get him on.
Hi there.
Evening, John. How are you doing?
Oh,
Actually, funny you should ask that. to tell you. I got the COVID at the moment, but
oh, he's got a cold. Well, I tell you what, John, if you're gonna have the cold, it's better to have it this year than last year, and better again that you didn't have it the year before.
But COVID is still going round. So obviously, are you just isolating at home, or what's the situation? Are you just?
Yeah. my husband work had it the week before last and had the week off, and then he came in for one day, even though he knew he still had it, but he reckoned he was, the website said 5 days is enough, but it was like 7 or 8 days. So he came in for one day and didn't come in anymore, but that was enough. 2 days later, I was, joined the list after all the time.
Any
Have
symptoms,
you had it
John?
before? Have you had it before, or is this the first time?
No, I've avoided it until now, but this is it. But yeah, it's not so bad. Man, it must be. I don't think it's anything like those people like 2 years ago, that were in such a bad way and dying.
Oh yeah, that's bad. I mean, that's really bad, isn't it? The old dying thing.
Dying. I wouldn't like to do that. No.
Listen, John, I got to ask you, because everybody else is out there thinking it. Are you sure you aren't just skiving off this week because it's the first week of the World Series of Poker? Are you sure that's not what you're playing at?
Well, you didn't have to put in so many words, but there's an awful lot of spread cheating to be done.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. And we're going to talk about the World Series of Poker, I think probably in a lot of detail, over the next hour and a half. But before we do that, Leigh, why don't we tell the guys what they are playing tonight and what the stakes are on the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah, well, we John mentioned spreadsheets, and we kind of do spreadsheets on this show pretty much every single week. Earlier on in the week, I don't know whether you saw it, Des. I posted up because we had our 1000th game on Leaderboard Ladders earlier on in the week, which I thought beautifully was won by one Tony Ross, which I thought just about kind of summed up the whole Leaderboard Ladders experience as we've seen it. We're on week 63 of Leaderboard Ladders at the moment. Everybody is chasing Richard Rudling Smith, young up and coming player, fairly new to the scene, but he's done all right so far this week. Had 3 cashes, puts him top of the leaderboard. Eddie is close, chasing him down with Tony Ross in third. Richard has already had 1 cash tonight, though already picked up some dosh in the deep stack that started at 5 o'clock. We end up with 55 runners in that. Richard finished 6th, so picked up another 30 points to his stack. But again, another of the young up and coming players scooped top prize in that one. Brendan Byrne, again, another one, Irish player.
To fix.
I think he's definitely got a future in the game.
I've heard
I think he'll go for.
Yeah,
definitely got a future in the game. He beat Luan Botticello from Brazil, heads up, with Dominic Ginders from Austria in third. So very well done to them. What we've got running at the moment then, as you can see up on the screen, it's the main event. No Limit Hold'em, 76 runners in that tonight. Just shy of the guarantee, so 2,500 in the prize pool. We're down to 11 now. Top 13 get paid. So, and I'll tell you what, it is a star-studded remaining 11 players. On the screen, you can see there, Dan Williams is there, Christine Cruz, Richard Rudling Smith, we've already mentioned. Naz is there. Daniela Zimmerman from Germany, regular player with us online, is there. On the other table, you've also got Eddie Niexu and Brian Harland as well. So we're going to have a cracking final table to keep an eye on. The PLO tonight, 29 runners in that. Top 5 are being paid. We've just hit the money there. Unfortunately, Yanni, the second best player in Ilfracombe, was the bubble boy in that one. Currently leading the way, though, is one Billy Johnston with Joe Gaynard second in chips. Richard Rudling Smith is on that final 5 as well.
Wow.
So a ridiculously good night. Was top of leaderboard ladders, cashed in the deep stack, cashed in the main event, No Limit Hold'em, cashed in the PLO. He's going for all 4. I can't see him still in the turbo, but he might still be in there somewhere. But the turbo has got 67 runners tonight, smashed the guarantee. $670 in the prize pool there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Top 11 being paid in that. Should just mention top money in the No Limit Hold'em tonight, $676. So nice prize up top, but we'll keep an eye on it. I think possibly Richard's already got leaderboard ladders locked up for this week.
I can't recall us hitting a Sunday evening with that sort of performance already in hand. Rudders does look a strong favourite, I'd have to say, for the leaderboard ladders. But Leigh, what the hell is he doing here? I thought, like every other sensible Welsh man, Welsh woman, they'd be out celebrating Wales's World Cup qualification.
What a day. What a day. That was a hell of a 90 minutes of football to have to sit through, to say the least. We went in at halftime 1-up, probably not deserving to be 1-up. Apart from the fact it was a world-class ball in from Bale, but own goal, fine. But we certainly weren't the better side in the first half. I thought we started the second half very well, but we did ride our luck a little bit. And of course, it's just that weird thing. Scotland had it earlier on in the week, whereby you're playing Ukraine and kind of the rest of the world wants Ukraine to win, not because they've got anything against Scotland, but just the fact that with everything that Ukraine are going through at the moment, kind of it's the right then. You kind of felt with this game, well, would love Wales to be at a World Cup. It's been over 60 years since we've last done that, and I didn't think we'd ever do it in my lifetime. And so to get so close, but then you kind of, well, if it isn't us, it's Ukraine, and that's kind of a good thing, isn't it, as well? So it's a very strange game. Yeah, it really was.
Very strange, but congrats to Wales for making it. I think that's going to make it really, really interesting. And I was out for a few minutes a little earlier on this evening, and the radio are already bigging up the England-Wales game. And what I wanted to scream at them was, it's not about England-Wales, right? 2 teams will come out of the group. It's more probably about Wales and USA or Wales and Iraq, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But super draw, super news for Wales.
Considering we ended up as one of the 4th seeds, I think, in the way they did the seedings, because the game got held back, so that we kind of got screwed over with that. But actually, we ended up with a decent draw. I think you've
got a very decent draw there.
Could have been a lot worse for us. So, yeah.
Listen, Leigh, bunch of the guys out there, we've got a ton, and I mean a ton of you watching in. John's appearance has obviously brought the crowds in, for which, that's why we paid him the big appearance money, Leigh. Right? It all makes sense now. You questioned me why. Well, why are we paying Murray this much? Well, this is why. So the Oracle is out there. He says, good evening. He's probably still celebrating Forest's ascent to the Premier League, is Simon Lawler. Barry Cullen is out there, says evening as well. Evening to you guys. I can see that Adam Sharples is out there. Tomo is out there. There's a bunch of others. Carl, the Captain Pilgrim. Particularly interested as John has media duties tonight for the World Series of Poker Fantasy competition that the boys run. Carl says, evening, folks. Evening back to you, Carl. Brian Harland, who you mentioned a short while ago, Leigh, is also in the chat. So evening to you, Brian. So say hello, guys. If you say hello, we'll give you the little bit of a shout out on the stream. But Leigh, let's start with the Fantasy World Series of Poker. Let's just start there. Some amazing numbers, John. You've broken your record, I believe. How many teams do you have in now?
We're on 79 now. We received our 79th entry today. Thanks, Leigh.
You're welcome.
That's Leigh in.
You're welcome.
We're already over the record. Yeah, 75 was our best in 2019, and then obviously COVID and that. I mean, at that stage, we were hoping to push on from there, because we'd gone from 20 odd, like a couple of 28 or something years previously, and kind of, I think we got to 50 or something, and we were stunned that we got up to 75 in 2019, and then didn't happen the next year. And then last year, a lot of people just didn't take part. And to be honest, the whole, I don't know, they had a World Series, but it kind of felt, even to me running the spreadsheet, and that it still felt like it wasn't a full thing, so our numbers did fall off. A lot of people I don't know. I mean, they still just had to pay the £10 and take part, but a lot of people kind of skipped it. But a lot of them came back. We've had quite a few new ones, so we haven't recovered all of the people we lost. Maybe some other cut price fantasy leagues have raffled them or something, or given them a free offer or something. But so we'd like to try to win them back. But we've had I haven't added up how many, but we've had quite a few new people.
Right.
So that's good. Hopefully we can still build on that next time.
Well, the important thing, I guess, is how long are you leaving late registration open? Because I got in this morning, having obviously paid full attention to everything that's gone on this week. I've read every single word there was written about the World Series in the last week, so I know every who's playing, where they're staying, whether they're going to be doing it. I've got it all down to a T. But for those that are still thinking, well, could I get involved in this? How long have they got?
They've got until event 11 starts, which is 11 a.m. tomorrow Vegas time, which is 7 p.m. tomorrow our time. So they've got until 7 o'clock tomorrow to get in, and also anyone who wants to put in a second team who has already entered one can do it. And substitutions are open till then as well. I mean, that's really, the substitutions are really, if somebody entered a team but then realized such a player isn't playing this year because he's babysitting, for example. Or
I heard. Who have you lost to babysitting? So somebody's not going to be there. Some big name.
Yeah, Mike Leigh, not such a big name, but Mike Leigh. Carl likes him because he picks up 1 point in every tournament.
Well, I don't need a second team because I've already put the winning team in this morning. So
you should
to be fair, it took me about probably 5-10 minutes if I'm honest to by the time I just picked my 10, popped it all in on the form, paid the tenner across on PayPal, so that was all in, which means Carl could put food on the table for another week, so that's good because that's important for him. So so all in all, for anyone that's thinking, I haven't got time to, because obviously you've got until Vegas time, 11 o'clock tomorrow, which is what are we talking about? Like 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, then pretty much. Is that right?
Nice.
8 hours, yeah.
It's 8 hours at the moment, yeah.
Guys, listen, get in. If you're not in, get in, because we're going to be talking about this every week, right? So get in. It will add a layer of enjoyment to the World Series of Poker this year. Now, look, on the teams front, John, everything that I've heard over the last couple of days suggests that Paxo's second team, and Paxo's out there, he says, good evening, chaps. Evening to you, Dave. I hear Paxo's second team is the stuff of legends. Can you give us any insight? I don't know if anybody's actually seen it yet, but can you tell us who's in Paxo's second team? Any nuggets?
Yeah, he's got.
Or actually, I hear they're all nuggets, but carry on.
He's got. How do you pronounce Win? He's got his first player is Win. His second player is Win. His fifth player is Win. And
so you've got a lot of Asian American players here that have followed in the footsteps of Scotty Win.
Yeah, that's right. You've got David Win, Turbo Win, which is my favorite.
Hold on, that sounds like a PokerStars format. Are you sure? Have we checked that one?
Fook Win, Amanda Win, Tommy Win, Kui Win. He won the main event. He's not a ringer.
Oh.
Kenny Win, Troyan Win, Nock Win, Zone Win.
Okay, the more you read out...
Has he paid a tenner for this?
He's paid a tenner for that. He's after the loser medal, the donkey's ass. I know what he's after. In fact, the more you read out those names, it's beginning to sound a little bit like my team, which has no hope of win. That I am sure of.
Whoa, John, I've got a quick question. Carl's in the chat and he said, Leigh, you haven't put your guess in for the free competition. What have I missed?
Oh, I can't believe you haven't done
that. Is there a free guessing competition? What do I need to guess?
Free. Did you hear the word free?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what literally was like boom, boom, boom. In my,
Oh, you got to laugh.
Anyone who enters can have a shot at guessing how many points the winning team will have.
Okay.
There are added value prizes for that. which Carl keeps track of. But we've got, I'm not sure which prizes for that. He's got a lot of spot prizes. He's got books, signed books by author, by
Rob Needham, right?
Yeah.
I've already got Robert Needham signed books. I don't know.
Well,
I've got those personally signed. I've got those. Yeah.
He's got these famous lucky socks.
Hey, I've got some lucky jocks. They didn't work, but you know.
You still got those from Newcastle, have you? Really?
Oh, too right, mate. Yeah. Too right. Don't you have any 11, 12-year-old jocks? No?
John played in that team event up in Newcastle.
That's the time that I famously knocked out my
that's one of my most favorite soft play stories ever, where John had absolute rubbish hands and thought he'd go all in to double up his teammate and ended up busting his teammate instead.
It's no good. It's no good.
That was the hand that meant that we didn't get the bronze medal. And
it's always whenever people say to me, they talk about team events, they go, yeah, but isn't it collusion and chip dumping? And I always roll out the John Murray Newcastle story where he tried to double his teammate up with absolute rubbish and basically bust his teammate instead.
Oh no!
Just goes to show it doesn't always work, folks. It does
not always work. Leigh, the win jokes are going off in the chat box. Paxo's come in and said, "I'm not winning anything, as you might expect." You've got the Oracle with "Miss the Welsh player, win." and on it goes. On it goes is all I can say.
I've done the point for the first 4 tournaments, although I haven't published the fourth one yet. And I can tell you that Paxo is well, okay, he is bottom, but he's
in good company though.
Bottom, but he's on 0 points. But I can tell you that Leigh, your team, in fact, 4 players of your team, who are, will I name them? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Corneth, Ben Yu, Scott Seaver, and Phil Ivey. I've scored 61 points between them.
Bloody hell, man.
And
you weren't
however, I wasn't in from the start.
However, you were in late. However, of the teams who were in from the start, the highest has got 57 points.
Oh, that's annoying.
You'd have been top. You'd have been top. You'll never get those 61 points back. Never, ever.
No, that's it. It's downhill from there, basically. Yeah.
So John, listen, the first 4, we've had at least 4 events. If not, we're deep into some others, of course. But what can you tell us about the first few events in Vegas? Any excitement on the winners front?
I'm sure you've been following it as well. It's funny.
No.
We've had the World Series. There's been 3 events where the winner has won their 4th bracelet, and all of them, apart from Seaver, who some people do pick, but the other 2 had no picks at all, and you know they're winning bracelets year after year, then placing high and that. And there are some players who are just really popular and get picked all the time, and I don't just mean the very, very top players like Negrano and that, but the next tier and the tier below that, you see the same names coming all the time. But then there's a whole bunch of players who win bracelets and place really highly, and nobody ever picks them. Yeah. So I said that who we have? We had David Peters.
Yeah.
Won his 4th bracelet.
He won the 100K buy-in. Is that right, John?
Yeah, it's a new event, isn't it?
It's insane. 100K buy-in.
Mental. And it's 25,000 bounty.
Ah, okay. And you had Seaver. Seaver's obviously won, I think, event number 2. So his 4th bracelet. And then I'm going to say Dan Smith. Has he also hit number 4? Is that what we're saying there?
Dan Smith, including this one, he's up to 1 bracelet.
Oh, right. So his first bracelet then, his maiden bracelet, but a big name. So it's I won't say unusual, but it's reassuring to see some of the big names winning very early on in the series. Obviously, these guys are going for it, right? They're going to be there across the entire summer.
Yeah, I mean, Smith is around. He just has kept missing numerous times. I think he's had a heads up before, but he's one of those players who is always around but hasn't had a bracelet.
Any word, John, on the venue and how players are, finding it? I understand there might have been one or two pretty chunky dealer issues, particularly in relation to colouring up. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, there was a particular issue where the dealer pulled all the chips into the middle, that misinterpreted the colouring up, and piled all the chips into one pile, or into the racks. And it took a long time to restore what it was, how they were previously.
What was the final conclusion with it, John? What did they do in the end? Because I understood they paused the tournament for about an hour whilst they tried to work it out. What was the actual? Did they manage to give the players the right chips back? Did they have cameras, or do you know how they actually resolved it?
I don't. I assume they got as close as they could. I mean, that's what you would do, isn't it? But yeah. I mean, I assume they got fairly close. But if it took them an hour, there must have been a bit of argy-bargy in the line out about it as well.
Oh, it must have been tricky.
Yeah.
We've got some insight from Carl here. Favorite chosen Asian player apparently is Fu Lin Yu. So apparently he's been a popular pick amongst the guys playing the fantasy game. Someone picked Peters apparently.
Yes.
Who picked Peters? It was Shug. Wow, good early result for Shug then.
Yeah, his first time taking part, and he posted a couple of times about, I know nothing about about pro players and all this, and then blindsided us by the only one to pick the winner for the first event, going top of the leaderboard. So he's probably doing this poker thing of pretending he didn't have it when he had.
Yeah. Simon is saying the heads-up final was horrendous to view. So I'm not sure which heads-up he was talking about there. Obviously, there was.
Vogelsang is getting a lot of criticism for stalling and spending like 2 or 3 minutes just thinking about. There's a particular hand where he's got pocket jack, someone else has got dealer. Well, the opponent's got king jack, whatever, and the flop is like 9-8-3. And it's checked to him, and then he spends like 3 minutes thinking about what he's going to do,
with his pocket jacks. Yeah, that's annoying.
Seemingly, it's not just then, but he does it a lot apparently. So he's getting a lot of criticism.
John, any word on the venue? So obviously, it's been played at sort of, well, I suppose they're calling it the Horseshoe on the Strip. It's Paris and Bally's that have the World Series of Poker now. You hearing anything on Twitter or anywhere else in relation to player experience? Has it improved from the Rio? Do you know?
Yeah, they all love it, isn't it? It's really surprising that you can satisfy a group of poker players and not have them split or some of them criticizing it. But just hardly seen any criticism. I mean, everybody seems to think it's much better than the Rio. Not just the location, but everything really that's set up about it, including the chips, the cards, not the dealers. Said there's a lot of inexperienced dealers, but the venue, everybody seems to be in favor.
Oh, that's good. And tell me, John, have you heard any rhetoric around the numbers? Is there anything to signify from the first 4 or 5 events that actually it could be a really big World Series of Poker, which I think is what most people are expecting? Yeah,
the numbers are through the roof.
Really? Wow.
Which is what was expected, I think. I suppose after COVID, and especially being on the Strip, because you'll get the odd, you'll get some casual people just having a shot who wouldn't go to the Rio, but who would see it and take a go. And I think a lot of people, there's the usual thing about people wanting to travel and do the things that they've missed out on as well. So, so far the numbers are through the roof, and it looks like, I don't know what the main event is going to be, but it's going to be probably another record.
Oh, it's going to be big. Looking forward to that. Tell me, have either of you taken out the Poker Go sub or extended it or kept it going, or have you been watching any of the games? I mean, obviously, John, you're going to be at home for a couple of days. Touch wood, that'll be smooth sailing. But you're going to be watching a bit of this back.
I haven't ever taken Poker Go. I usually watch it on YouTube, or
right.
I kind of struggle for time just to keep up with the results and the
Never mind watching it.
tweeting and the forums or whatever.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know. I could have it on in the background, I suppose. But
yeah,
I kind of, by the time I'm getting to do some of these updates, some of the things I want to deal with are already on YouTube and that anyway. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough. How about you, Leigh? Have you watched any of it yet thus far?
No, I don't. I've never had a Poker Go subscription. Funnily, Paul said to me this week he'd either extended his or taken his out and watched a little bit during the week. But I've never really been much of a fanboy about watching other people play poker. I don't really kind of, even if there's like big hands and stuff like that. It's you can maybe catch them on YouTube if there's something super cool. But how often is there a hand where you kind of go, oh well, that's an absolute blockbuster of a thing to watch? I've never really kind of got the feel for that of needing to do that. So and to be honest, we watch enough poker on a Sunday night, Des. With
do we watch any poker on a Sunday night? In reality, we tend to just
certainly. We do watch it, because I can confirm to you that the PLO's already finished, and Richard Rudling-Smith finished in 5th. Jan Schaffer from Germany was in 4th. Joe Gaynard was 3rd. Billy Johnson had to settle for 2nd place in the end because Samuel Costa from Austria picked up the win. We're down to 8 in the No Limit Hold'em main event. Dan Williams first to bust on that final table. He picked up $85. So the remaining 8 players you can see on the screen. So that's got a little bit of play left in that, because as you can see, they're all fairly. Yeah, there's nobody super. I suppose Brian's the shortest stack now with about 4 bigs. Nobody's absolutely crushing this today. Naz's chip leader with 26 bigs at the moment, so it's fairly flat at the moment. Yeah, it does.
Short, it looks pretty tight.
And we're down to 15 in the turbo knockout, so we're close to that. So John, I earlier on I saw that you posted up. I don't know how many teams you'd had in at this point, but you posted up the most picked kind of players so far. Which I thought was quite an interesting thing. So let me bring that up on up on screen so you can see it. Now I know you've had a few more teams in since probably this was posted up maybe a couple of days ago. But I just put up like the top 15, so everyone that that's 12 or more. Anybody on that list that surprised you?
Not really. The top 3 are always going to be there. That's just the way it is. I put them in on my team. I don't really want to have some of them, well, a couple of them on my team. But if you don't have them, then you're not going to win, basically. Or if you don't have at least 1 or 2, unless you happen to find the player who does outstandingly well. So if you happen to find Arya last year, that would have been great. I mean, some of the ones near the bottom of the list, Adamo has come in really strong in the last couple of days. He won 2 bracelets last time. So, if anything, I would have expected him to maybe even be a bit higher. Kuhn won one last time, didn't he? A lot of them won. won. Jeremy Osmus, I never know how you're supposed to say his name. I think he won.
I was quite surprised Stephen Chidwick is... it was picked by 34 teams on the basis that he plays a lot of the high rollers and super high rollers, and I wasn't sure how much he plays of the rest of the series. I mean, what's your insight in that?
No, you're absolutely right. I think he did play a lot in the series a couple of years ago, but I think in the last couple of years he's played around town a lot. So he's probably living on his past glories a bit so far as the series picks are concerned there.
I reckon
much like Carl with in APAT, really, isn't it? Living off past
past glories. Leigh, I recognize all of those players. I've got them all in my team.
Excellent. You allowed like a super subs bench.
Well, I've got them all on my team, and Carl said to me, "Don't worry, Des, that won't be a problem." He said something about something about interchange and thanks for the seat and all of that. So it all came out in one, but I recognize them all. They're all in my team.
Actually, thinking about Chidwick did get a bracelet not that long ago. He was one of those players like Dan Smith who had been close and never won one.
He's always thereabouts.
He's over the hurdle now.
Yeah, he also did a very deep run in the main event last year, if I'm not mistaken. And with the right mindset, he's the sort of player that he has that discipline. He could go deep in the main again. Tell me, John, how does the points work across the fantasy competition?
Well, the points are they were originally suggested to us by Richard Baker, because we had a different system before where we think, we try to remember that. I think we just went down 1 point for each place, and he suggested weighting it a bit more, and come up with that weighting. So we give more for first place, 25, then 18, and so on.
So
and as we get
sort of Formula One like.
Sorry.
Formula One like.
That's what he called it. I was trying to avoid it. But yeah. Yeah. Anybody who cashes but doesn't make the final table gets 1 point. Anybody on the final table gets more points than that, and increasing not just by 1 point as you get further up. So I think 2, 4, and so on at the bottom, but as they're at the top, they're getting 25, 18.
John, do you use any square roots and logs or not?
Oh yeah. And,
any cosines?
Good. Because I don't like any sort of scoring system that hasn't at least got one log in it, just to make it confusing for the players. Yeah. So
we were thinking of introducing percentage points because.
I like it.
Just 6/10 of a point. Let's do it.
Just so they don't understand it.
But John, listen, a serious question. Is there any difference? So 25 points for a win. Is there any difference between a player winning the main event, which obviously will have 8,000 to 9,000 players, and a player winning a high roller, which might have 60 or 70 players? Does your winner in both instances get 25 points?
Yeah, this is the thing. This is kind of a perennial kind of
yeah, I can imagine
discussion about what's the best thing to do, and with the big fields, should you give them more points? Should you give the high rollers with the small fields more points and so on? But we've got the same points for everything, so
it's working for you. Obviously,
it's got nothing. It's exactly the same as winning a small tournament. We have thought about just give 3 times as many points or something to the main event, and we could do things like that. But to be honest, it probably wouldn't make any difference because hardly anybody gets a player onto the final table of the main event. Dario got on a couple of years ago. I think Luca had him, but I should say the full name. Not everybody's in the clique, I suppose, knows who we're talking about. So Luca Canella had Dario Sammartino who got on to the final table. But I can't remember one did Legrand get on?
We
hardly ever
close. Yeah,
he got 11th or something. We hardly ever get a player onto the final table.
That's fair enough.
And
so tell me,
we get a few ones. If there were 3s, it would hardly make any difference.
Yeah, Carl is saying the same thing there. It never makes any difference. Tell me, what is the plan this year to hobble Barry Cullen?
Well, it's failed so far because he got a flying start. He took the lead on the first event. He scored 40 points. So he's
a machine, isn't he?
He's terrible, isn't he? Well, we got him last time. He actually was still a contender, but we held him off last time.
For those that don't know, John, so he didn't win last time, but is it right that he won the 3 before that? Is that right?
He won 3 in a row. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Last year, Joe Harris won, and she also finished 3rd. So Barry's never done that.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
What? Two teams, 1st and 3rd. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Is Joe in this season as well?
She is. Yes.
Fantastic.
And she's changed her strategy because Joe has always had a unique team, which including Chris Fitch and Shaq Harris, Brandon Shaq Harris, and nobody else has picked them. But she's dropped them. I think Fitch is not playing this time, but she hasn't picked either of them. She's gone for a different team. But she does have some players that other people don't have again. So remains to be seen. Maybe people should just look at her team and just copy it.
I was going to say, just nick a few of her picks. Does she have any of the Wynn family at all?
I don't believe she has. No
wins.
No, she
wins.
She didn't go in the win route. No.
Damn.
I don't know how much of the show you caught last week, but Tom Bacon was rattling off 2 or 3 players, kind of, well, not random players. Obviously, he's done his research, but yeah, players that I'd not necessarily heard of that he thought might have a good run. I guess it's very difficult. Do people look at the live events? And obviously, because of COVID, we've had 2 years where we haven't had a lot of live events. So do they therefore focus on those that are absolutely smashing it online and think, are they going to give the series a go this time round? Or how do people tend to find out who's likely to play a big schedule at the series?
That probably people do look at the online. To be honest, Leigh, a lot of the players tend to be the players who've done well at the World Series previously. That tends to be it. I mean, people who have done well in other tournaments, it doesn't really seem to come into the configurations, because you see players who've won things elsewhere and then not getting picked. It seems to be that a lot of the same people. But I mean, some of the people who did well last time and who hadn't figured or much previously have shown up in people's teams this time. Like Kevin Gerhardt, for example, who won. I'm sure he won 1 or 2 races last time, but he certainly he won at least one, and he finished really high, 1 or 2 others, and he's in people's teams, and he's never figured before. So people do find their way in.
That's interesting.
And John, what about the Brits and the Irish players? It seems to be really tough to be able to know who's gonna go and play over in Vegas for the entire summer. To even know who's going over to play. I saw a number of them on the list of that have been picked. But are we expecting the likes of, I don't know, Patrick Leonard, and I can't think who else was on that list, to actually rock up and play a full series?
Well, I believe Patrick Leonard is playing already. Niall Farrell's been playing, so they're both there, and both have been doing quite well, I believe. Apart from them, I'm not sure who else. I guess Chidwick will play some.
Yeah, for sure.
But of the other known British players, haven't heard much about them, to be honest. Have you?
No, I've not heard of. It isn't like it used to be, where you could probably rattle off a dozen or so Brits that have been crushing it online and around the world, and have then gone to the series.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's just COVID has just kind of meant that has not happened. I also was really surprised about how few female players have been picked, but again, it's those that are in the kind of the making the headlines in recent time. Are they going to play a full series? And with the likes of Vanessa Cade going to play, is Kristen Bicknell going to play? The kind of the players that are right up there at the top of the female game. Again, it's really difficult to know, isn't it?
Yeah, and those two have had 1 or 2 picks, and there's hardly any other female players have been picked. I mean, apart from Natalie, who's picked an entirely female team, but hardly any other females have been picked. I'm not sure Natalie's going to do well with that team. I tried, I think twice. I picked a fully female team, and it didn't go well either time. So
we'll have to.
But there was a female winner. Yeah, there was a female winner of the
first event. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think 2 years ago we're like near the end of the series, and there hadn't been one. It was only like you're up to events like 67 or something before there was a female winner.
Yeah.
So
well, listen, whatever about a female winner, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of them, honestly, but would have no issues predicting that. What I'd really like to see is at least one female make the final table of the main, because that hoodoo needs to be broken. They've gone close, and there isn't any reason why one shouldn't make it. It's just a statistics game, right? They're a smaller percentage of the main event field, but it would be lovely to see a woman make the final table of the main. The egos, meanwhile, are coming out in the chat box. This is Mr. Cullen, 4 in a row stopped by COVID. That's what he's saying. He's not happy.
Oh.
He's not happy with Joe Harris winning. I'm telling you now. And one Mr. Pilgrim, right, organizer extraordinaire, says, I was the only person to pick Corneth last time. Seems popular pick this year, though. The egos are coming out, Leigh.
All about trend setting. That's what it is all about. That's for sure. Nothing wrong with that in the slightest. So, John, how long does it take you each day to put together? Because you don't, it isn't just a case of recording the results. You do so much more than that, because you offer comment, you offer reports, and you're pulling photos and images and stuff through, and not just even on the tournaments, but on anything else that you see that's a story in the I mean, it feels like a full-time job, but how long does it take you each day?
It takes a long time. Couple of years ago, because I work contracts and that, it fitted nicely on times when I was between contracts, and that was great. But the last time and this time I'm working, and luckily, as it happens, I happen to be not off. I nearly said off this week. I'm going to be at home this week. I'll be shirking from home, so I'll might be able to find a few minutes to look at it. But
and of course, also the group is already buzzing. There's loads of people liking, commenting, throwing in kind of what their information as well. So I mean, it's enough just to keep on top with what's going on in the Facebook group, let alone actually getting the proper results from for the World Series. I mean, do you predominantly use the Poker News kind of reporting and as your main place for the info?
Yeah, I use the WSOP site. Poker News tends to be pretty much the same as that.
Well, they'll be providing those updates on WSOP.com, I would have thought.
Yeah. I look on some of the forums. I tend to look on the chat on 2+2. I look on a lot of the Twitter and that. I follow a few of them and see what's sometimes if something's buzzing there, then it gives you a lead, or even if something's just mentioned, it might be something interesting, and you can follow it through, and maybe even though it's just mentioned there, I might then just Google it and find out about it and so on.
And would you ever consider going to Vegas for the series, yourself, and be in Vegas and kind of doing the kind of this kind of thing over there for a few months?
Yeah, why not? That would be a dream job. But I did do it from there for a week or week and a half at one point when I went to the series, and this obviously we had the league going. I was sharing a room with Jason, and I was trying to play and socialize and do the updates and everything all at the same time. But that was busy time. But
challenging week, I can imagine. Listen, guys, I don't know if you've come across this story, but it stood out to me as one of the more interesting stories at the start of the World Series of Poker. But I've used this image a couple of times tonight. Let me just put it up one more time, right? And then we'll go back to the final table. So this image here obviously reflects the World Series of Poker main event bracelet, right? This is what's being used at the moment, because whoever the winner is apparently going to get a choice. They can either take the diamond encrusted main event bracelet worth in the region of $100,000, or they can take an NFT of a picture, an image of the bracelet, which everybody thinks will have a value far in excess of $100,000. But obviously it's a risky proposition. What do you think? I mean, what would you do? And strange, super strange, or of the times? What exactly are the World Series of Poker doing here?
A value to who? I mean, when you sell it,
to the players. So if the player sold it, if the player physically sold the digital image, which is unique to them, right? They're the only ones that get it.
But with that, this is the problem with NFTs, isn't it? That is never the case, is it really? Something like the World Series of Poker bracelet, it doesn't really matter what the value is, because it's what somebody's prepared to pay for it. So yes, it might have cost $100,000 to manufacture that bracelet. Is somebody going to pay you $100,000 for a World Series of Poker bracelet that they didn't win?
Yeah, I wouldn't
Of course
have thought
they're
so.
not.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought
Of course
so.
they're not. They're not going to come anywhere near that.
But will anybody
the reality of it is,
will anybody pay it for an NFT?
no, exactly. So the point is that it's a meaningless discussion. It could have just as well be that, you know, what they get is John's done a drawing of the world of the bracelet, and that's what they get in a frame. You know, I mean, it doesn't really matter, because it sits on a shelf or it sits wherever, and it's their memento of winning that event. Because as we always say, money comes and goes. Okay, you win the main event, it's a considerable amount of money, and it probably doesn't ever go completely. But the reality of it is those are the things which you have as a reminder of your achievement or experience of that particular event. And that doesn't matter whether it's a trophy, a bracelet, an APAT medal, or whatever it might be. So I don't think what you do with an NFT, you can't put it on the shelf. You can't show it off to anybody, or somebody can go, oh, what was that for? So I'd
imagine you could print it out, Leigh. You could print it out and put it in a very impressive frame, couldn't you? You could fold it up and put it in your wallet.
But the problem is, so could anybody else with an NFT.
I know, but come on, like, art is art, right? The Mona Lisa, it's easy to find a copy, but it's a copy, right? We all know it's a copy. What do you think, John? You know your way around a spreadsheet, so are obviously an expert in digital currency. Well, what do you think?
I can't see the point. I mean, what is anything worth? It's only what you can sell it for. If you can't sell it, there's no buyer for it. Who's saying that it's worth more? There have been one or two bracelets that have been sold on eBay before.
Agree. So
what do they get
do we
for them?
think this is just a smart marketing ploy by the World Series of Poker to maybe get some column inches out there in the real world?
Yeah, that's all it is, I think, to be perfect. I mean, that main event bracelet, you're winning. I mean, as Billy Johnson in the chat says, you're winning $10 million. Give me the bracelet every time. And the point is that the player's winning a serious chunk of money. Are they bothered whether that bracelet cost 100,000, a million, or 10,000? Does it really matter? It is a one-off memento that could be replicated, but not easily. But that's what it's about. I don't think it really matters how much it costs. I mean, if people only knew how much our WSOP main event bracelet costs, I mean, it's significant sums of money, because they are unique every year. Kevin and the team produce a brand new bracelet. It's a one-off bracelet for our world champs that gets produced every year, and that's the point, isn't it? That's what it's about.
It is covered in the sweat and craftsmanship of some really young child who builds it.
If you want a side event bracelet, or you want an APAT medal, you just got to contact Chris Webber, because he's got them all sat in the footwell of his car, and he will quite happily sell them to you at a very reasonable rate.
Right, without looking, who's made this comment? I want my bracelet extra fungible. I'll be funging it everywhere.
No idea. I'll have to have a look and see that.
That is one Mr. Simon Allen.
Ah, Simon Allen. Okay, yeah, very good.
There you go. How much, Leigh? How much are silver medals worth? That's coming in from one Mr. Simon Brooke.
Yes, because Simon unfortunately only does. I'll tell you a little Simon Brooke story from earlier on in the week. I didn't post it up in the Gotham team, because I thought they'd probably think I was I'd made it up. But Simon played one of the tournaments during the week, and it gets to kind of 10:30, and I normally start going on to party and seeing what's going on, looking on the lobbies and seeing what's happening. And I think the 7 o'clock one had finished, and the 8 o'clock, and I looked and I just saw Simon Brooke second on the lobby. And my first thought was, oh, that one's over as well. And I started putting the results in, and then realized, no, it still had like about 8 people going. It was still running. So, yeah. So, sorry, Simon. Yeah.
No. One Mr. Haycock. Yes, I would also funge the shit out of it. Quite right. There's a serious question coming up here. APAT bracelet or World Series of Poker bracelet? Paxo. I'm not going to leave that up for much longer, just because I fear the abuse is going to start coming in.
Where's he asking?
Yeah. Surely, You take the bracelet. I can't imagine Helmuth adding an NFT to the side of his cap. Lol, Barry Cullen.
Yeah.
Suppose you only won $1,000 though, but the bracelet was worth 10,000. What would you do?
If you only won, if you only won 1,000, yeah. I mean, yeah. If the trophy's worth more than the prize money, it becomes a different thing as to whether you go. Well, it depends, but it all comes down to the same thing: is it depends what the money means to you, and different amounts of money mean different amount to different people. Some poker wins, of I don't know, 10,000 might be life changing for some people. For others, it's just a nice bonus. It all depends, and it's different for everybody. And I think you have to be understanding of people's situation. I know plenty of amateur poker players that the bling and the trophies and things they could not care less about. They'd rather that went on the prize pool and they just had the cash. That's all that they play for. To them, it's an additional form of income, and that's how they treat it. But different circumstances, isn't it, for everybody?
Absolutely right.
I struggle to believe when people say that, though. I kind of think, oh yeah, that they, that extra £200 is really important to them. Yeah. Rather than the medal or the bracelet. Yeah.
Well, we always said it from day one, right? The cash always goes, and whether it's an extra 400 or 500 quid, whatever it might be, the cash always goes. That little memento, whether it sits in the seat well of your car, or proudly is displayed in a cabinet at home, you'll sort of always have it because obviously nobody else will want to take it from you. It has to be said. There's a lot of
those things, though, Des, they are important. I mean, it's like
they are, yeah.
You take our world championships and you go back to Asa winning 2 bracelets on the same day in Manchester a few years back. Asa probably couldn't. Well, he may remember exactly how much the money was there, but the feat and what he is very proud of is the fact that he's the only one that has actually won 2 bracelets in one day in 2 tournaments, our world championships. That those sorts of things matter to players, and it's important. And the money, it
neither here nor there,
comes and goes, doesn't it? Yeah.
All I can remember is Martin Tyler running around the card room shouting, "Asa!"
yeah. You'll never see anything like this again. Yes.
Priceless.
I suppose if we got to the final table of some World Series, that thing, and you're playing for thousands, and there's also a bracelet, but is the bracelet important, or is the 100,000 important?
It's an interesting one. You
place to from 4th to 3rd, and in the hope of an extra 100,000, but maybe basically putting any chance of winning out the door.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I think if you think of something like the main event final table, where they're all guaranteed $1 million,
you're over the line already.
So if you're an amateur poker player, and you've already locked up $1 million, or you've not had any big necessarily massive win, so this is by far your biggest win. I guess there's a point where the money becomes a little bit like, well, I've already guaranteed $1 million. Yes, okay, there's 8 million top and whatever, but there's probably a point where it changes from being about the money to I could actually win this and win the bracelet, and what that would then mean. Because I mean, whoever remembers who finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in the main event? I mean, to be honest, at times you struggle to even remember who won the bloody thing, let alone anything else.
I think Simon Brook finished 2nd. That's all I remember. There is a bit of grief for Paxo in the chat box, Leigh. Apparently, he's going to get the donkey ass medal. So it won't be a World Series of Poker bracelet or a WCOAP bracelet. It's going to be the donkey ass medal for Paxo. Danny Strange says always about the bling. He also goes on to say great work with running the Fantasy League, John. Both you and Carl have done a superb job. Blah, 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 which we'd all absolutely agree with. You guys have really stuck with this over the years. And Matthias, Betty is out there. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to you, Matthias. Hope you're having a good one. There we go. We're up to date, Leigh. Players on
Just
break.
give you a shout out. Yeah, to say players on the break. We are at 5 to the hour. We've got 5 players left in the main event. Naz is still chip leader there with just over 23 bigs. Martin Rummens from Belgium has got 20 bigs. Richard Rudling Smith still doing very well. We think he's already got leaderboard ladders secured for this this week. We think most probably. Daniela Zimmerman from Germany, who I mentioned is a regular player on APAT online, and then Jean-Philippe from Canada. So spread around the world, the final 5 there. I mentioned the PLO's finished. The Turbo Knockout is in the money now. We're down to 8 in that. Simon Allen, third in chips, who's been in the chat. So good luck to you, Simon. In that, Matthias Detters from Germany, again a regular player with APAT, is in that final 8, as is Calvin Davis from Canada, another one that regularly plays APAT events. So good luck to all of those.
Listen, Matthias Betty, who I mentioned a minute ago, tells me, and I'm going to tell you, I was at a final table of the World Series of Poker, got 3rd. I didn't even think about the bracelet. It was just the money and the beer. Good man. Good man. That answers it.
We're all hands and bobbing in as quick as we can.
It's not fair. Nobody mentioned beer, okay? We'd have all gone for the beer. It's not fair. So
with all that money, would they like to make a late entry into the
yeah.
Listen,
faces left.
Andre Mercier is out there. Who do you think will win WSOP, Danny Strange? That's an interesting question.
Oh wow, that sounds
an interesting question. So this is Andre.
That sounds calling Danny out for the Worlds. That sounds.
Let's see what Danny has to say in the chat box. We'll come back on that one.
Yeah, so just a little update on the Worlds. Tom did put a post out this week, just kind of confirming a few more details, and I think he is very, very close to being able to get the holding tanks and the Luxon Pay buy-in facility up and running. So you'll be able to start buying in and reserving your seats for the live events at Dusk Till Dawn. We did also confirm the online dates as well, which are pretty much the week before, the Sunday to the Sunday. And as soon as the Millions Europe concludes from Barcelona, we will get all those final details out for you all, so you can start seeing what's going there. Obviously, we'll have online satellites for those as well. So we'll be able to confirm this. I mean, I've seen the schedule, and there's for anybody that played our World Championship of Amateur Poker, the online version during lockdown. I mean, we had 750,000 of guarantees for that, and I think we paid out over 800,000 in the end across that series. There's some absolutely awesome guarantees in the online schedule for the week before we all head up to Nottingham. So well worth getting involved in a little bit nearer the time, say 100%. End of the month.
And don't forget, guys, WCOAP bracelet. You can't buy those online, right? Can't buy them, Leigh.
Definitely not.
No money. You cannot buy them.
The 2022 one is currently in production. I can tell you no more than that at the moment. But Kevin and the team who've produced the bracelets for us now for a fair few years now. I think when they first started doing them for us, but it's been a good while now. They say the main event one is handmade every year, complete unique design. So thoroughly looking forward to it. And I tend to get involved with the design now. A few years back, it was very blingy when Des used to do it. It was far.
Oh, they were, yeah.
Can't believe you don't like the bling, Leigh. I can't believe it. It's just not good enough.
It was a bit much. Do you know what I mean? I've made them a little bit more classy now. Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
People are saying they're very sophisticated nowadays.
Far too contemporary for my liking. I like the old, get the jewels out there. Put them on the table. Let people see your best foot forward.
He had multicolored jewels in it, John. I mean, honestly, it was absolutely outrageous. Yeah.
Listen,
looked like it came out of one of those grabber machines in the arcades. You know what I mean? It's just.
And listen, we've got to say goodnight to Mr. Pilgrim. He is heading to bed. He says, good night, folks. Thanks, everyone, for getting involved in the Fantasy League. So remember, guys, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. UK time is the cutoff. So if you want to get a team in there, you're not in yet, you can have up to 2 teams in, £10 per team. You will enjoy the next 2.5 months if you're in this thing. We recommend you do it. Just look for a link within the APAT Facebook group. There'll be several of them. I'm sure there are several links put in this week alone.
Yeah, Carl posted up earlier on today as well, so they're certainly in there. And yeah, give John a little bit more work between now and 7 o'clock, because he's not busy enough as it is. So I'm sure he'd love to see a few more teams pop into his inbox before close of play tomorrow.
Listen, Leigh, Danny has come back to Andre. Can you remember the question? Because he's come back with too many top players to just take a stab at one. What was the question? Who would you murder first? Was it something like that?
Who was going to win the WSOP?
Ah, here we go. He does go on to say Eddie Niascu is my pick. Well, okay, bit of form. Eddie is in good form. That would be a hell of a takedown from Eddie. And Andre comes back to Danny and says, just play well. You've now coined my saying. I like it, says Danny. So the guys are having a bit of a love in there. Chat's going over and back. Happy, one big happy family. We do like to see that. So how are we doing here, Leigh?
What we like.
We're down to 4.
down to 4 now. Yeah, we just
lost.
Yeah, Jean-Philippe and Danielle's a short stack. She's only got 6 bigs. So really, Naz is in pole position here. He's got over 30 bigs, and Danielle's made the shove with ace 4. Oh no, wow, hits 2 pair. Wow. He's up against the 10s of Martin. Just need to avoid and the kill. It doesn't make any difference. It's king on the river, and it's 2 pair for Danielle, better 2 pair than Martin's, and gets a double up. So Martin's now the short stack with 7 bigs. As I say, Naz has got 30 odd bigs here. Richard Rolling Smith has only got 11. So yeah, pretty much it's Naz's to lose at this point, really. But we've seen this does always change these moments in the tour. So, John, how's your poker been since we've come out of lockdown? Have you managed to play anything live, or are you been busy with work?
I haven't been playing any. Well, I went to the last APAT event, but that's the only poker I've played live in the last more than 2 years. Yeah, I don't think I'll be playing any in the next short term. I'll try to get to the WSOP, but that will be the only one probably until the middle of the summer at least.
Yeah, I mean, for those that might not know you necessarily. You obviously have a very long APAT history and a rather successful APAT history. I mean, are you probably most final tables? Is that a fair shout?
I don't know if it's still the case, but yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, there's a lot of new players now who may well have overtaken me.
I doubt it. I have to say, but we will see, right? We're looking at the data, right? We're looking at the data.
We're looking at the
data at some point soon on that.
The data's gone rusty.
The data has gone rusty. It's going out of date. Oh, that's too funny. That is too funny. But John, in all seriousness, I mean, to make the number of final tables that you did over so many years, and I don't doubt, when you get back into the normality of attending events again and stuff like that, you'll be back on final tables. It's a hell of an achievement. A lot of really good players have come through APAT. The fact that you had more final tables than anyone, and you were extremely close at the top with young Steve with regards to being the perhaps the most points earning player in the history of APAT.
Yeah,
an incredible achievement, right?
Yeah, I mean, Steve's an amazing player, particularly at Hold'em. I mean, I think he's more of a Hold'em player, and I'm more of kind of partly Hold'em. I'd say he's much better at Hold'em than I am. Than I play mixed games as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Steve's a great player.
With that type of consistency behind you, John, would you would you love to get the chance to, go to Vegas for 4 weeks with, a semi-decent bankroll to be able to, take on 3, 4, 5 of these big field tournaments? Would you go?
Yeah,
for that
would be amazing. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I've gone for a week before and played what I could during those times. I've played some big field, cheaper hold'em events, and tried my hand at a couple of the mixed game ones. But I really enjoyed the mixed game ones as well. They were like much smaller fields and much tougher fields, because everybody in it is a bloody pro, and you find you're the only one you don't know on the team.
You're the only one you don't know. You got to know yourself, right? Tell me, John, has the game changed much, do you think, in the last 10, 15 years?
Has the game changed?
Yeah. In terms of the way players play it. Hey?
I used to get to final tables.
All right, okay. Yeah. You're just not evolving along with the game, evidently. I mean, what would you say was the key change, John?
Oh, God, I don't know. What's the key change? I don't know.
Is it the level of aggression shown by players? Are they more likely to take you on now as opposed to previously? They'd be maybe a little more respecting, a little more cautious. Has anything like that changed? Is it a more stats-based approach today? I mean, players are using solvers all over the place.
I think that there's a lot more good players now, and a lot more players. When you used to play even APATs or whatever, there was a core. There was always a core of players who were good, and then there were some others who weren't so much. But now, there's not many who aren't. It's virtually everybody is a decent player. So it has spread probably from playing online and that, where everybody's been playing online now for a few years, unless they're quite young. Then, everybody's got a lot of experience now. So there isn't the easy meat that there used to be in certain stages in tournaments.
Yeah, you've got some agreement there. Simon Allen says key change for me is that the average level is higher. Agree. Danny says key change equals solvers. So there's just so much more information available out there. Do you remember when it was as simple as you'd buy one of Dan Harrington's books and you'd immediately level up to a degree? Whereas now actually there's so much. There's so many resources out there for players to get the knowledge, should they have the interest in getting the knowledge. And it's so easy to play just tens of thousands of hands online if you want to do that as well. And the prize pools online are exceptional. And it's not just on one site now, it's across several sites. Some amazing series online as well. So it is tougher. Andre has a question for you, Leigh. How are we counting the points in the WSOP for leaderboard? Is it cash or position in the competition?
Normally we've always done top 18 for the main event and top 9 for the side events, and they've earned points very similar to how we've previously done ranking points. Obviously, because we've got a number of events that are going to be quite significantly different on the number of runners that we've got. We are just in the process of having a quick review of it to make sure we're making it as fair as we possibly can for those involved. But certainly, buy-ins won't have a huge amount of an impact in what we do, and we'll just get a fair enough kind of schedule to work. But it will be certainly points based rather than how much you've cashed. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think we thought about cash as well, or introducing an element of it in the points. But the thing is, the main event would just overwhelm everything else if you do it on cash.
Yeah. Just sorry, Leigh, you go ahead.
Oh no, you. I'm good. Go on.
Okay, so I was going to change it up slightly. In other news, obviously, huge party last couple of days in the UK for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. How did that go for you guys? Did you take part in that in any way, shape, or form, locally or otherwise?
Yeah, I was flying red 2. I don't know whether you caught me. I was just a ringman to red 1. Once I'd done over Buck Palace, just went off to the right, and I was pretty much done. So that was me done. Luckily, I didn't have to do much more than that. What about you, John?
Well, I had to, as you know, I had to drop out of the formation because of my COVID. So I'm
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys didn't head out and grab a sausage roll with the rest of the country on your local
what
street.
did you do, Des?
I jumped down and had a beer and a sausage roll with the crew, and then I quietly disappeared. I quietly withdrew from that scene because, frankly, that wasn't fun, and watched Wales beat Ukraine in the World Cup qualifier. So there was a little bit of that earlier on. But I thought, and this isn't a poker topic, I just thought what a successful few days it was. It reflected reasonably well on the country, which, is never a bad thing overseas, given that things generally are always quite screwed up here. So, I thought it was quite successful. And I'm an admirer of the Queen.
It's been a nice 4 days. It's been a really, really good 4 days, and considering what's gone on the last couple of years, I think it's been a nice thing to bring everyone together. And talking about bringing everything together, Naz has busted third place, and Richard Rudling-Smith looks like he's ending the week on a high.
Wow.
And he's only going to take down the main event tonight. Ace Jack versus Daniela's King 10, and wow, that does for that. And I'd already said to you before we started really tonight's poker that Richard Rudling-Smith was top of the leaderboard and won had points in the deep stack earlier on. Has now taken down the main event. I think we pretty much know where that's going to finish. That we'll bring up the turbo because that's got 5 players left in it. Des, if you bear with me a second, it's actually got 4. We've just lost Andrew Shaw, so let me quickly bring that table up, and then I can start working through the exits and see where we're at. Right, that should be
there we go.
That should be live. There we go. So 4 players left in this. Simon Allen, who's been in the chat tonight, he's chip leader. Patrick Kuchera, I'm going to go with from the Czech Republic. Patrick, a huge regular player with APAT, plays a lot with us. Jack Thomas from the UK and William. Can't catch William's surname. Let me just see if I can. Stevenson. So William Stevenson. So is making up the 4th there. So we'll see how that pans out. But I'm just going to pop those other results in because I think we already know that Richard is going to have smashed leaderboard ladders for this week. For any of you that haven't played or got involved with leaderboard ladders, great little competition that we run every single week. We run 16 tournaments in a week, 2 a night and 4 on a Sunday. If you cash in those tournaments, you earn points. And if you're in the top 20 of the leaderboard at the end of the week, you'll pick up an added value ticket. The value of the added value ticket depends on the step that you're on, hence the leaderboard ladders. So everybody starts on step 1, which is a $5.50 ticket. If you're in the top 20, you move up a step the following week, and you move up to try and win an $11 ticket. Then it goes $22, $33, right up to $55 tickets for those that are at step 5. If you're out of the top 20, you just move back down a step. Simple as that. If you're in the top 5 each week, we double those tickets. So instead of getting 1 ticket, we give you 2. And if, as Richard will have done this week, you top the leaderboard, we triple your tickets. Now, I don't want to panic you at all, Des, but Richard is a step 5er. So Richard's efforts this week means he's going to pick up 3 lots of $55 tickets, added value, courtesy of APAT into his party poker account. That's how you do it, though, guys. You say you cash. If you can cash in a couple of tournaments every week, then you'll get yourself up the leaderboard ladders and pick up the added value. So
fantastic.
Well,
and
worth getting involved in.
Hopefully, somebody can roll that added value up into a really tasty prize. Elsewhere within party poker. I mean, that's the idea, right? Hopefully you get a chance to take a shot at some bigger fields without any risk to yourself, and that's a good thing. Yeah. Listen, Leigh, talking about risk, we had a slightly fruity discussion last week with regards to the Champions League and some of the crowd trouble that appeared there. Notable that UEFA have apologised to both Liverpool and Real Madrid fans this week. Full investigation to follow. There's been a lot of shooing of French sports ministers as well during the week by other French ministers. I think some wrongs are attempting to be righted following that crowd trouble at the Stade de France. last week, which, to be honest, is a bit worrying because the Olympics is coming, the Rugby World Cup is coming, and a lot of people have found out over the last few days that there have been crowd trouble, maybe not quite on this scale, but of this type at the Stade de France for the last several years, including at rugby events where, generally speaking, you don't tend to have crowd trouble. So, nice to see UEFA coming out, making an apology and promising a full independent review, because that was pretty unsightly, what we saw last week.
Yeah, you kind of get the impression that UEFA were being fed information from perhaps the French authorities.
Oh, yes.
Or those running the stadium, and they pretty much took it as gospel, and have now realised that maybe that wasn't the case. I mean, luckily, and as we said last week, and as a number of people have come out and said, luckily nobody was seriously hurt. It could have actually ended up far worse.
100%. 100%. So glad that is at last being cleared up, because I know Liverpool fans do take this quite personally when it comes down to that sort of event occurring. So that would be good. So obviously with the Welsh result today, it sort of feels like now the season is over, albeit there are still some internationals going. But I think the first weekend in August will see the return of the Premier League. And as I understand it, the fixtures will be announced in the next 10 days or so. So we'll... Again,
yeah, it's I think the 16th of June. I think
is it the 16th? So maybe a little bit longer than I've said, but we'll start to, pick out fixtures and sort of say, well, that's going to be the key game. Do you think will there be any other clubs in the mix outside of City and Liverpool going into next season?
No, I don't think so. No, simple as that. Don't think that'll be the case. I think they're still.
You don't think Chelsea with a new owner is going to throw a ton of cash at
No, I don't think. I don't think so. I think City have strengthened even more. And if Liverpool can keep the squad together,
actually, that's a very good call. There might not be anyone challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that there is nobody challenging City if that isn't the case. But we will. So we've just lost Simon in the Turbo Knockout, finishing in 4th place. So well done to you, Simon. Picks up $30 from the prize pool and another 18 from the bounty, so $48 for his $11 buy-in. So very well done.
He is offering some thanks. He is offering some thanks in the chat box, Leigh. Well, thanks for putting that table up. Had all gone nicely until then. Sorry.
Yeah. The show Bok, and we've not even yet had Simon on the show, and he is due an appearance, as he was. Simon was one of the glorious APAT show team event winners from earlier on in the year, and we did say we'd make sure we get everybody on. I think Simon may well be the only one left to come on. So he said he's going to sort me out a Sunday, which he's
will be lovely to have a chat.
We will get
lovely to have a chat.
Yeah, really be nice.
Mateus, back in the chat box, Leigh. I would like to play the WCOAP, but I don't know yet if I have the chance to go. Mateus is from Germany. How big is the chance to buy tickets?
Okay, so basically, I think he says to buy tickets spontaneously. So yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to, if you kind of decided the day before or something like that, and thinking, I'll just head over to Nottingham and play. By then, obviously, the holding tanks on Party Poker and the pre registration via Luxon Pay will both be closed off, but you still will be able to buy tickets at the club on the day. There's a rough split of about 40% of the tickets will be available through Luxon Pay. 40% of the tickets will be available through Party Poker's holding tank, and then the remaining 20% will be available at the Dusk Till Dawn cash desk. Obviously, then we'll also have an alternates list as well. So once we hit the cap on each event, we'll carry on taking alternates right up until late registration for anyone that still wants to buy in late. So yeah, there are chances you'll be able to get in, but we are expecting these events to sell out. It's been 3 years since we were all in Vienna for the last WCOAP, and we are expecting events to sell out. Obviously, if you've got a Party Poker account, then you can buy into the holding tank, not a problem whatsoever. Luxon Pay is open to everybody, so it's not just for people in the UK, and that's just a great way of being able to just deposit via their app and pretty much just buy direct in to the event there. So a number of ways to do it, but if you're going to leave it, till maybe a day or two before, and you're traveling a distance, then you certainly probably want to try and lock in some seats at least. What I would say for anyone that's not been to Dust Till Dawn before, obviously John's been many a time. I think it's sort of heading up for 50 odd tables in there in total. Stacks of cash games will be going on in the evenings and lots of other stuff as well. So you certainly won't be short of being able to play some poker if you decided to come to Dust Till Dawn for the weekend. That's for sure.
Too right. Well said, Leigh. With regards to his appearance on the show, Simon has said, I'll get my people to talk to your people. Oh, hold on. Here comes Simon's people now.
Yeah, that's about
there
right.
They are. There they are.
Excellent. Shouldn't be too difficult negotiation, I think, Des. I think we're all winning.
I think we've got this one cracked, Leigh.
We certainly aren't going to be paying John Murray rates. That's for sure.
Hell no. Yeah. Even if he does use a match for lighting over there, I mean, do they have lights on the South Coast, John? I mean, what is going on?
Times are tough. I'm off work this week. I might not get paid because I'm taking.
It's a decision. Do you pay for your lights or do you pay for your broadband? It can't be both. It's got to be one or the other. So yeah.
I've got an online poker career to support you.
Yeah. You said you've not been playing much live, but have you been playing much online, John, or have you found time to play or not?
I kind of, if I get there early enough, I sometimes jump into the Poker Stars horse of an evening. Or they have an 8 game. They're the ones that they're very cheap. I like to play those. That's about it, really. I haven't really played anything else for ages.
No, I must admit myself. Lockdown. I know a lot of people were playing. I played a lot more during lockdown. I've probably played the least amount of online poker I've ever played. Since starting in, I started playing poker in about 2005, 2006, something like that. And yeah, probably the last 2 and a bit years since Des and I said, let's do the APAT show. And that'll be great. And
we'll do one, see how it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe we can play at the same time,
yeah. However many shows are on now. It's and I've hardly played anything online. Really not had the time or just not really kind of fancied it really. But
I did play quite a bit on Party there last year, but I haven't had the time, to be honest.
Oh well.
And I won't have the time the next few weeks. So.
Oh dear.
But if for anybody that does want to follow the World Series, I say it's not too late to get into the fantasy comp if you want to. You've got till 7 o'clock tomorrow night, which is the start of event number 11 over in Vegas, which will start at 11 o'clock their time, but that's 7 o'clock UK time tomorrow night. Go and check out the link in the Facebook group if you want to get involved in that. It's basically pick 10 players and then John does all the work for you. I mean, it is really as simple as that. Pick 10 players, pay a tenner, goes into the prize pool. They've got added value prizes as well, so there's lots of other bits and pieces on there. Pretty much get involved in the group. It's good fun. It's a good way of keeping up to date with what's going on over in Vegas for the next couple of months. And John and Carl put a lot of time and effort into running it. I mean, it'd be love to say you've already got 79 entries now. It'd be love to see it up nearer into the 90s if we could, for anyone that hasn't yet got involved.
As you say, Leigh, it'd be good if the more people get involved in the group, the Facebook group. It's great, because it's it can be quite lonely sometimes, when you post something and there's not a lot of response. But particularly you used to be on the forum, but since it's on Facebook, at least people can do a like or something. So it's you see somebody's reading it, But the more people that make comments or whatever, even if it's controversial or starts a bit of an argument, then all the better, But the more discussion there is, that's great.
Get involved, guys. Get involved. Listen, Leigh, following on from your discussion around spontaneous buying into the World Championship of Amateur Poker to Mateus.
Oh, I thought you were going to say spontaneous buying into World. I thought you're off to Vegas and you're going to go and
No, I wish. If only I had that ability. But our old mate Chris Phillis is out there. Any idea when the holding tanks will be available on Party? Which is a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. If I had my way, they'd already be live. But unfortunately, yes.
And so the holding tanks are not there. So we're working on it, Chris. Believe me, we are working on it.
Working on it as quick as we can. Tom was hoping it was going to be the week just gone, and obviously that's come and gone. And he's pushing hard to get these things up live. So because you guys want to be able to just say guarantee seats for what you want to play. We fully understand that, and it's just explaining it to the powers that be. That's what players do. They don't leave it last minute. They want to get stuff booked up. So we're moving as quickly as we can to get that sorted.
Bring back the reservist seat on APAT.com. That's what I say, Leigh. Do you remember that? Hell, bring back the ClickFest.
Yeah. The ClickFest days, yes, of refreshing F5 as many times as you possibly could. Yeah. Yes, they were the days, weren't they?
I can remember leaving a tournament in Sheffield, I think, and having to go because internet wasn't everywhere then. Having to go down to the local McDonald's during the tournament and try to get in during the big fest, and then go back to my other tournament. Yeah.
Oh, Des can tell you stories about the early days of using ClickFest, and he had to try and get onto the server to effectively close off the buying the portal once it got to sort of the cap. How many did you oversell by the first?
I tell you, the first time we did it was for the Welsh. I'm going to say it was for the Welsh in probably 2007, and we did it with a payment provider called MessageCharge. So it was a very manual process. It wasn't like there are 220 seats, and therefore when they're sold, they're sold. So it was more like if you click this link, you can pay £75 for a ticket. So we I set up the link, I put a holding page up, and the thing was at 9 o'clock, it was going to go live, and then, we'd sort of go from there. There were 220 seats. There wasn't really what you might call a plan. But I put the link live at 9 o'clock. Of course, what I hadn't realized was that we were getting the same amount of click traffic right at 9 o'clock on the website from people just refreshing that John Lewis gets at Christmas. Right, that's what they told us after the event. So anyway, when this thing eventually went live, players just flooded in, and I saw the sales going up, and we got up to about 180, and I thought, right, I'm going to cut it off now. So I removed the link. Well, it was, and I saw it going 180, 185, and I'm thinking that's okay, slowing down a bit. 189, 194, and I'm thinking shit's getting a bit tight now. 200, 210, 215, 220. That's all of them. Please stop. Because all of these people were within. They had actually got through to the server, right? They were no longer relying on the APAT homepage. I think we sold about 290 seats. We had 220 to go. It was a lot of explaining to the payment provider, a lot of refunds. It was just a nightmare. Happy days.
Oh, dear. Oh dear, happy days indeed. Well, talking about happy days, one William Stevenson is going to be happy because he ended up winning the Turbo Knockout, beat Patrick Kucera from the Czech Republic into second place, and Jack Thomas was third. We mentioned Simon Allen that finished fourth. So I can wrap up the week 63 of Leaderboard Ladders and confirm like what I pretty much told you at the top of the show, really. Richard Rudling-Smith was top of Leaderboard Ladders going into the final day, and he has absolutely smashed it tonight. Cashed in the deep stack, won the main event as well. So he ended up with 6 cashes for the weekdays, 347 points. That is 120 points more than second place, which was wow. Eddie Niaxo in second place. Eddie actually had 6 cashes as well. So that's a pretty impressive week from Eddie. Wow. I think in any other week, Eddie, that would have seen you top of the leaderboard, but unfortunately, Richards had an absolute flyer. Young whippersnapper from Ireland, Brendan Byrne, finishes in third. Tony Ross finishes in fourth. Tony's back on the upward, so Tony was up at step 5 for a long time. and then dropped away. He's now creeping back up again, Des. We're going to have to, maybe send the boys to Ilfracombe and have a word because he's starting to get a little bit close. Patrick, who I mentioned that just finished heads up in the final one there. Patrick finished in 5th, 4 cashes for the week. So that'll be double tickets going to the Czech Republic. So very well done to him. Notable others in the top 20 this week. Aaron in there again, 3 cashes. He's a step 5er and has been a step 5er for a good while now. Just regularly gets into the top 20 each week. Matthias Detters from Germany, he's a step 4. He's finishing the top 20 as well. Di Farrell finishes in the top 20 as well with a couple of cashes this week. So very well done to you, Di. You'll move up to step 2 next week. Yes, but all the others are step 1ers. So we've had an expensive week up at the top with Richard Rudling Smith, but we're not too bad for the rest of it. We've done all right. And we started all again tomorrow night, and it'll be week 64 of Leaderboard Ladders.
Can't believe it.
If you fancy getting involved, give it a go.
I can't believe it didn't finish at 52, Leigh. How the hell are we on 64? Really? That's so odd.
I think the reality is, with the world champs starting to build up, because we're only now about 4 weeks away from that, we may well, I think we'll keep the tournaments going, but we may well stop, pause the leaderboards for maybe whilst players are trying to satellite and do other bits and pieces. So we might well give a pause on that one, possibly maybe into a little bit of the summer as well. But we'll see how it goes, see whether there's an appetite to play it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Leigh. Well, 2 things. As always, first of all, big thank you to John for, spending the evening with us. Lovely to have you on, John. Guys, play the Fantasy League, right? Get involved. Get involved, Leigh. That's what you say, right? Get involved. A tenner to put a team in. You'll get a tenner's worth of joy, if only to see how Paxo's winning team gets on. You'll get a ton of joy from it. Do engage, right? Like stuff and add the odd comment and what have you. That makes John's life better. John, do recover from your COVID. Hope the next sort of few days or so are better for you, my friend. Hope that we can talk to you over the next few weeks and maybe get some further updates, because they're really interesting.
Yeah.
We're flying him out, aren't we? We're going to fly him out to Vegas. That's the deal.
That's right. Yeah. So Leigh is piloting. I'm co-piloting. John is the only passenger. We're ready to go. If John is, maybe not so sure now. Hang on. Biden needs a negative COVID. No. Just you and I then, no. Leigh. Just you and I.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
So close.
We'll see. So listen, last word to all of you guys out there who have played this week. Big well done to Rudders. Love to see you winning as a step 5. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Good luck in the tourneys that the added value helps to put you into. And a best of luck to all of you guys playing in the next 7 days. Leigh and I will be back on Sunday. Hopefully we'll have a guest with us, but we will see. Between now and then, have a great week. Night, guys. That's it from us.